Hello everyone, this will be part 3 of my update here. Sorry this is so long, just got a lot of stuff to get to. This is pretty much the last update before the storm, and there's still a lot of questioning across the east on who will see what. Alright, so what you got in front of you here is the conditional snow from the GFS, obviously shaded here is where conditional snow is favorable. I believe conditional snow, kind of what the model thinks, it's not only where the freezing line is, but I think it also has something to do with kind of atmospheric temperatures and all sorts of wind stuff and that. It's not just kind of a basic thing, it's pretty complicatedly formed, I believe. If I'm correct, which I believe I am. Because I always am, right? Yeah. Um, anyway, so as you can see, really, the only places where conditional snow is favorable tonight is up in the main parts of Mount Washington area, the UP of Michigan, right? And if we move forward 6 hours with that, that kind of shifts down into more kind of Michigan-y parts, and conditional snow kind of gets its way out of New England completely. Yeah. So if you move forward another 6 hours, you can see that line advance. I'm not sure if it's based off precip 2. Not entirely sure. I'll let you guys know in another video some other time. But yeah, you can see that kind of also continuing to shift down across Michigan, kind of working its way down to the valleys of New Hampshire, parts of Maine, parts of Vermont, probably parts of upstate New York. Yeah, so that kind of stays the same in Maine, covering most of the state. Kind of the same for um, New Hampshire and Vermont. You can see this line continuing to shift down, but at this point we're pretty much kind of getting into the daytime. But up here, I just want to mention, there's going to be a very steep temperature gradient. There could be right at this line right here, below 30 degrees, and right here, we'll say, there could be 45 degrees, right? So the rain snow line there is either going to fluctuate, or you could drive 10 or 15 miles and see a couple inches of snow, and drive another miles north or south, or if you're in the north, you could see a couple inches of snow if you're on the north side of the freezing line. If you drive south 10 to 15, 20 miles, you'd be dealing with a lot of rain. So it's gonna vary literally from town to town, seeing perhaps several inches of snow to a lot of rain. Alright, let's move for another 6 hours here. Alright, you can kind of see that shifts a little bit up into there, up into Michigan. Really only the upper part of Maine favorable for snow. If we move forward another 6 hours, just kind of this actually this really shifts down perhaps into parts of Indiana, getting pretty close to Indianapolis down there, I believe. Pretty much all of Michigan, UP and Michigan, no doubt gonna see a good quality April snowstorm out of this. Getting pretty close to Detroit there. So it's right along there, pretty much. Looks like some parts of upstate New York there could be in it. Most of Maine still in it, kind of away from the coast in the southern part of the state. Yeah, you can really see as we get into the overnight hours, but at this point, into these parts, really just perhaps some lingering snow showers that really kind of gets down into here in the parts of the Ohio Valley, perhaps even into the Appalachia down there. Pretty much most of northern New England favorable for snow, but at this point, the storm will be pretty much all offshore up into here. Most of the precip will be kind of like this. Alright, so it'll be kind of long gone, unfortunately, for you snow lovers out there. And yeah, let's move on to the NAM. Alright, so this is a total precip, very, very similar to all the other models. I think actually the NAM is showing perhaps a tiny bit less in places in New England, and kind of a little less along the East Coast. This line kind of drawing back. GFS kind of headed out here like this, kind of getting below or at a half an inch, quarter inch. All right, and that kind of inch line up here was kind of all throughout New England and such, but it's kind of shifted over to here now. All right, so let us move on another 6 hours here. Actually, excuse me. So we're gonna look at the wind vectors of the NAM right now. All right. So you can see tonight they're pretty similar to the other models I showed you. All right. Some heavy winds up into here. The NAM really is not showing this squall line down into these regions. I'm not quite sure why that is. But yeah. So pretty much only really winds gusting up here, perhaps above 35 knots, which is, I believe, close to 40 miles per hour, if I'm correct. Getting good at those knot conversions. All right, if we move forward another 6 hours, you can see some coastal winds beginning to develop off the coast of Long Island there. Getting a little gusty. All right. Perhaps some heavier winds in upstate New York. Pretty much across most. I mean, yeah, the NAM is still not showing this squall line. I mean, there's going to be really heavy winds in here, so I'm not too happy about that, showing you guys that. But it is picking up on the winds gusting pretty high up into the Great Lakes regions up there. Yeah, pretty calm in Maine. Looks like most of New England, though, and upstate New York will be seeing some pretty moderate gusting of winds there. If we move forward another 6 hours, you can kind of see the arrows here. They're kind of shifting forward, and then they're coming down here like this. Kind of two centers of pressure forming, one in here and one in here. You can see the winds kind of wrapping, excuse me, here over Michigan. You can see also kind of where the winds die. That's where the center of pressures are. All right. So it looks like the winds will be really starting to ramp off the Massachusetts coast here. You can see that getting into the 25 to 30 knot range, 20 to 25 knots for most of New York, upstate New York, getting a little bit windier in the Berkshires there, a little bit quieter and calm towards Boston, right? And still really not that squalling, perhaps it's showing it here, but really there is, there is a squall line with pretty heavy winds right into these regions that the NAM is not picking up on, but I showed you guys in the other models. All right, looks like the winds will really get going in the Gulf of Maine there, getting pretty quiet back into the Great Lakes regions here. Getting really quiet in uh, southeastern parts of the states there. Pretty windy along the Carolina coast there. All right, nothing too damaging or anything. Alright, if we move forward another 6 hours as the storm begins to depart up to Nova Scotia, looks like the winds could be ramping up along the Maine coast up there. Getting pretty calm here, perhaps some winds coming off Great Lakes a bit, down to Chicago too. Alright. Alright. Yeah, perhaps some still coastal winds along the Carolinas there, but pretty calm across most of the east there as the storm gets its butt out of here. Finally. Alright. Let's move on another 6 hours with these winds. You can really kind of see those lake winds kind of coming off the lakes, the Great Lakes there. Perhaps some still coastal winds along the New England, Maine shore, right along there like that. Some winds beginning to build in the Gulf. Nothing too crazy, blowing some cold air down that way, going that way and that way. All right. Yeah. So here's in forward another 6 hours. You can kind of see as the storm finally that upper level departs, kind of like this, heading that way. Sorry, heading that way. If you can see that arrow. No colors really work for some of these maps. Getting a little windy up into Michigan there as the storm completely, the whole system completely leaves the eastern U.S. Okie dokie. So here is the MSLP for NAM. All right. Um, yeah. So NAM, I guess it is showing a squall line, pretty heavy squall line into parts of eastern Tennessee there, but it's not showing really strong winds with these, and I think the winds will be pretty strong and perhaps damaging. But it is showing moderate to heavy precip in these regions. I'll outline them right into here, just like that. Nothing really going on in New England along the East Coast. Nothing much. Florida, perhaps some pop up, perhaps thunderstorms, maybe a few rumbles of thunder tonight for Florida, maybe. Not out of the question. You can really see that center of pressure, pretty broad, kind of stronger area than the rest of the models, right into that region, kind of sitting just northeast of the Ohio Valley. Some pretty moderate to heavy precip kind of getting into these regions, the Great Lakes regions. Diminishing squall line right along here, kind of some showers moving eastward. Precip beginning to make its way into New York City, New Jersey, and New England especially. Maine still looks clear at this time, which is 2 a.m. This 2 a.m. So now this is for Friday morning. You can see kind of weaker. The NAM is showing that energy transfer. You can kind of see it breaking off right there, and kind of a new low forming along the coast, which will head that way. All right. Um, yeah. Squall line still there, but not nearly as strong as what the other models are thinking. Some thunderstorms offshore for Florida. Some showers moving their way east. All right. Um, Moderate to heavy precip in southern New England, Maine. Still looks like it'll be clear. Perhaps some thunderstorms just outside of the New York City metro area there. Yeah. If we move forward another 6 hours to kind of Friday afternoon, you can kind of see a more lower pressure area, kind of the upper level low, which is weakening as dry air works in like that. All right, and kind of some lingering showers here. Moderate precip kind of still sticking around the Great Lakes region up into Canada and the UP, perhaps some lingering snow showers. It looks like there could be some heavy precip along the New England coast there. Maine finally getting its fair share. Not really a squall line here according to the NAM, but still some showers to watch out for there. Alright, let's move forward a little more here. Storm gets its act out of here. New low definitely forms there. Still that low back here bringing some nothing really too crazy going on. Nothing too crazy there back into Michigan and those areas and such. Right, you can really see it kind of get its way out of there, heading up straight to Nova Scotia, still weakening back here as that new low takes energy out of this low and brings it northeast. Let's move forward to final 6 hours here with the NAM. All right, you can see the storm pretty much completely gone. Perhaps some lingering stuff into northern Maine there. Perhaps some showers in Florida. All right. So here, let's move on to the NAM temperatures, which actually I'm going to stop this part here as we're going to get off. But look for part 4. It's going to be good.